Welcome back to another instant reaction edition of the Night Report podcast. We're going to cover a little bit more than we normally would on an instant reaction since we kind of missed a few things over the holiday weekend. But Richie, welcome back. We have quite a bit to talk about today.
Yeah, no, we got commitments, decommitments. We can talk about my sunburn.
Yeah, looking a little pink there.
Yeah, rough weekend.
Yeah, I hope everybody was safe over the holiday weekend. But Rutgers picked up a commitment today from the Hun School's Dantae Barone. It sounds like they're bringing him in as an H-back slash fullback, even though he's listed as a defensive lineman on Rivals. Tell us a little bit about this kid because we just offered him last Friday, so less than a week ago, and he's already committed today.
Yeah, so it's a little interesting. I don't know if you guys saw the Logan Blake commitment article that we posted, but the very last quote in there was, "Yeah, I really want to bring my friend Dantae Barone with me when I go to Rutgers." So obviously the offer came right after that. They've done their research. They have those elite showcases over at like all these preps, actually at like every high school now. And I was there, I want to say May 17th, 18th, whatever it was. And obviously Coach Ulrich was there, Coach Nunzio were there. So they both got a chance to see him. And they just really liked him. It's intriguing to me. It's an interesting get. We have him listed as a defensive end. I kind of saw most of the drills he was doing as a defensive end. He has packed on quite a bit of pounds over the past couple of years. So this is where it gets a little concerning. Like a lot of people are saying they're taking him as an H-back, but he's like 270 right now.
I was going to ask if those measurements are actually up to date.
Yeah, so he used to be a high school quarterback his freshman year and just kept packing on pounds. And then eventually, obviously, they moved him down to defensive line. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if like that's probably not the ideal weight for an H-back, but who am I to judge? It's I don't know if the last time I saw a scholarship H-back, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been a while. Is that something that Gleason has wanted from like the start of being here? Is some kind of like hybrid like scholarship guy that he can kind of get creative with, or is this just they saw a guy they liked and he fit this specific role and they just offered him because of that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Gleason's pretty well known for being very creative when it comes to offensive schemes. And if you look in the NFL, there are still a couple. Mike Burton still made a hell of a career for himself. The Chiefs have, I think, is Anthony Sherman, is it still? I think they have Anthony Sherman or some
Yeah,
they have a fullback of some kind.
who's Anthony Sherman's a UConn guy too.
Yeah, and yeah, so I mean, there's still a couple out there, and there's still ways to use them correctly. But I guess it does help in terms of an extra blocker, especially when your offensive line's not as good as it has been since like what, '06 or something. But yeah, so I mean, it will help them in that regard. It's an interesting get. Like, not gonna say it's a great get. I'm not gonna say it's a bad get. It's just a intriguing get at this point in time, especially with so many open slots still.
So he's got a pretty good offer list. Are all of those legit offers, or have those been on his profile for a while?
So I can't speak about the Boston College one. I don't know about Syracuse and Temple, but I can tell you that like Illinois was pushing very hard. Illinois was ready to take him on an official visit 2 weeks from now, and that they liked him. They actually liked him as a defensive lineman. So it's a little intriguing tidbit there, but yeah, they were ready to have him on an official visit. I actually was gonna put in a future cast for Illinois because it sounded like he was all but done with the Illini, and now
Wow.
just Rutgers obviously offered, and Jersey kid wants to stay home. Good friends with Logan Blake, so it makes a lot of sense. They did just land another Hun School kid though over in Illinois.
I was gonna say this is gonna be like a Hun School supercast here.
Yeah, it's between Rutgers and Illinois. I mean, they're both pushing this Hun School thing quite a bit. They landed Zach Amwin, Rutgers lands Dantae Barone, Rutgers lands Logan Blake. The Big Ten in general, Mark Lane's going to Iowa. I mean, it's potential Logan Howland could end up at Michigan or Iowa. He has 2 official visits to those 2 schools. I mean, Big Ten feeder program is the Hun School at this point.
Yeah. So that Zachary Amlin commitment to Illinois was a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't necessarily think they were in the running. It sounded like Rutgers was in a good place with him for a while. Did that one just kind of come out of nowhere as well?
Yeah, a little bit. They started to fade off a little bit. We started hearing about like him scheduling an Illinois visit, and that was kind of like it's almost like the nail in the coffin, especially if you just visit it in like for most schools or most recruits, I want to say, not every recruit, obviously. If you're going on a spring visit to a school and then like a month later you schedule your official visit, it's kind of like, all right, and no other official visits, you kind of think it's locked up. Now you can go through the Rutgers targets and fact check me on it, but there's a good chance, like let's say a Darrell Robinson who just took a visit to campus last month, doesn't have any other officials but Rutgers. I want to say there's a pretty good chance he ends up at Rutgers. So that not every recruit, but for most recruits, I want to say that that's pretty factual.
Yeah, no, that kind of checks with what I've noticed peripherally too. I haven't actually gone through and looked at everyone.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's so many different situations. There's like Khalil Gawad flipped the coin. Like, we really don't know, but yeah, that's probably the most factual type situation there. But yeah,
Gotcha.
it was weird. It was just a random kind of addition for Illinois. I mean, good for them because I think he's a pretty damn good prospect. But this is where it gets interesting because now you're down to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 10 or 11 offensive linemen that you have offers out to that haven't committed. And I'm just looking at like those 10 or 11, and I think only 1 or 2 has official visits to campus. So now you might have to send out some more offers and see what happens.
Yeah, no, we've seen a few different waves of offers come recently, and I do want to talk quarterbacks because I know people are going to want to hear about that. But before we do that, I do want to talk about a little bit more about Logan Blake, who is another commitment we got. He's a tight end out of the Hun School. He's doing a post-grad year there. He played previously at Delaware Valley High School. I think that's in southeastern PA, if I'm correct.
Jersey.
That's Jersey. Okay,
yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
So he is just a huge dude. And it sounded like you had a lot of good things to say about him after you saw him in person like about a month ago. Tell us what Rutgers is getting in him and how this commitment came together.
Yeah, so this one I actually really like a lot. I kind of argue that like he might be like their second best commit. Now you can debate that between, some might say John Stone's number 1, some might say Peterson's number 1. But I really do like Logan Blake. I saw him a couple times in person over the past couple of years, whether it be at Del Val when he came to camps, and then recently at the Hun School, and his catch radius is ridiculous. He had some crazy diving catch, which I'm kind of mad, like I just missed like on my camera. I had everything going, and then someone starts talking, and you get distracted, and all of a sudden he makes this crazy diving thing, and I'm like, oh god damn it. Like, and watch, he's gonna commit to Rutgers. Like I want to say like 2 weeks later he commits to Rutgers. I'm like, all right, great, like fuck my life. But yeah, no, he's a really good prospect. I think he's a different type of tight end that you haven't had in a while at Rutgers. I don't remember the last time they had a good receiving tight end. Croft, maybe.
Probably. Who was the guy who transferred to Nebraska under Ash?
Vokalek.
Yeah, Vokalek. He had his moments, but I mean, if you just look at the raw statistics he put up, it doesn't look impressive. But when you realize how bad that offense was, and he was like the primary receiver for the second half of that season before he transferred.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, they finally get a receiving tight end. I think it's going to be interesting to see how he kind of builds on that frame. He's already like a legit 6'6", 6'7", around that range. He is skinny. He's like he's listed at 210, 215, something like that. But I think he's more like 200, 205. But with Jay Butler over there, I'm not really concerned. I think they'll build him up pretty quickly. You got guys like Rashad Rochelle came in at like 155 or 160 or something like that. And I heard he's already up to like 175, 180. And it's like, that's like a 6-month span.
That's
like
huge.
It's incredible. So it is insane what he can do with guys. So I'm not concerned about that at all. I do think, like I said, I think Logan Blake's one of the better commits in this class. And his catch radius is there. He's decent route running too. And then he's a basketball player, so he's got the athleticism. So I mean, I think he scored like over like 1,300, 1,400 points. So he's not like a bad basketball player either. He knows what he's doing. So the athleticism's there, and that's kind of what you want in your receiving tight ends nowadays. So it's kind of a wait and see, but I think he'll have a pretty good year for Hun.
Yeah, no, he's a guy that after hearing what you said about him and then just watching his film, I actually think he might even be the best commit on our current commit list. And that might say a lot of things, both negatively and positively. But solid pickup there. We did have some bad news as well since the last time we recorded. I think the last time we recorded, or second to last time, you were at that Rivals camp. You saw Yazeed Haynes in person. You saw him win the Rivals camp MVP at wide receiver, and now he gets an offer from Minnesota and he decommits. Is this an instance of, the staff has that rule? If you're going to take visits, you got to be decommitted, or is he basically gone?
No, he's gone. Like I mean, they could revisit it down the line, but I don't really see it happening. I'd be shocked actually a little bit if he didn't end up at Minnesota. PJ Fleck's been pushing for him ever since that mid-May offer. That was even before the camp. Then he's also planning on going to a couple camps this year. So he's going to go to Penn State and he's going to go to Georgia. That's that Fran Brown effect right there. He's pursuing a lot of dudes that are committed elsewhere in the Philly area. Naquil Bertrand, he just offers a Colorado commit out of Philly down at Georgia. So, I mean, he's going to just start flipping these Philly guys, in my opinion. But I don't see either Penn State or Georgia offering. I'd be a little shocked. But I do think Minnesota is the front runner right now. PJ Fleck offered them. They've been pushing ever since. They have a pretty good program over there. So he's going to go check it out on June 17th for an official visit. And then kind of go from there. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if that ends with a commitment on that Sunday.
Yeah, that's a big loss because, we really need receivers moving forward.
Yeah.
It just seems like we're in a bit of a funk. I don't know if it's because the relationships aren't there recruiting wise because you lost your two best guys. And I mean, you're really building a pipe. Anybody who's worked in sales knows you're building a pipeline. Because you're making sales today, it doesn't mean that everything happened today. It's years in development. So when Fran can start talking to a 23 kid, in 2019, he builds that relationship. And by the time he's ready to commit, he's basically like a family member at that point.
Yeah.
And so I think you still have to kind of give the new guys a chance, but early returns aren't great.
No, this is a really tough one too, because not only is he a Pennsylvania kid, not only were you the first one on him and you really the first one to push him, but he also works with Deion Shaw, who's Demir Shaw's brother.
Yeah.
That's where it gets really bad. But I did see something online where Deion Shaw did get a job working as an assistant with Roman Catholic over in Pennsylvania. So that could help a little bit.
Yeah, but, it's a big program.
Yeah, no, it's a huge program. It's here. Denmark's a pretty big 4-star recruit out of there next year. I think he's top 100 right now. He's considering Rutgers, Penn State. He wants to stay local as of right now, but as we know, I shouldn't say never, but it happens once in a while, once in a blue moon. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, no, I mean, losing Yazeed Haynes isn't a good one, isn't a good loss. It's kind of interesting because I don't know where you go next. I keep looking at this where our little recruiting board we have pinned at the top, and it's just I don't see anyone super realistic. Obviously, Famad Toure is going to take an official, Jesse Ofuri, but these guys don't really stand out to me like Yazeed Haynes did at that camp. And then the rest are probably long shots. I know they just hosted Frederick Moore yesterday, a Missouri guy, but he kind of told us it's probably a long shot there. He only kind of visited because he was in New York City, and the staff kind of was like, "Hey, come visit. You're already here." And he was in New York City for some kind of fight. I forget what it was, but yeah, I mean, there's recruiting's not great right now. They need to do some work here and see what else they can turn up, whether it be a diamond in the rough type or I don't know. You got to send out some more offers, obviously.
Do you think they could start relying more and more on the transfer portal moving forward because they're having not a whole lot of success in recruiting high school kids, or is it just recruiting's just not great? They would ideally like high school kids over transfer portal kids.
Well, I know obviously they prefer high school guys just because you can develop them more a little bit. I shouldn't say a little bit, a lot of it. But at the end of the day, it's just tough. You can go both. Obviously, you're always going to save 7 to 10 at this point transfer portal scholarships. So yeah, they're going to hit the portal pretty hard, and they've had some success. They've had guys like JD Dorenzo, who's been pretty good. Trying to think, well, who else even came in the portal? There's so many guys.
Taj Harris.
Taj Harris is a good one, but if you notice, the only concern there is they're only landing the random jersey guys that need to come home almost. JD Dorenzo is a great one. That's a good a great get in general.
That's probably the best recruiting win that Shiano's had outside of Gavin Wimsatt, honestly.
Yeah, and it's not. I don't mean to shit on recruiting, but it's not in a good spot. And then in terms of transfer portal in general, did they really beat out anyone else other than the JD Dorenzo one? Taj Harris was got MIA, and I don't know what happened with the Kentucky situation.
They should do a 30 for 30 about his transfer, because that was one of the weirdest things. And I'll still never forget that day where you looked into, well, you found out that Taj Harris was enrolled at Rutgers, and it was like, what? No,
like where did this come from? Like this was beyond random. That one, I mean, Willie Tyler, I think they beat out SMU, so it's like,
yeah,
you should be beating him out regardless, in my opinion.
Yep.
Dunlap was a weird situation. Texas wanted him, then backed off, so I don't know what happened there. Who else did they add via portal? I guess that's kind of it, right? They didn't add it right.
Well, they got the Mike Ciccone, I think his name is.
Chafani out of Colorado State. Converted lineman. So I mean, I don't know how much competition. Sean Ryan was a good one. He was a solid one. I don't know who actually else was interested in that one. It's been so long since that one, but I mean, I do think they have to do something here. You have to get a sharp recruiter, and maybe a guy like Orphy could develop into that, but it's gonna take time. Maybe a guy like Demir Shaw could develop into that, but you can't expect that year one, and I don't even know if I'll expect that year two.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Rutgers, when they've had a lot of success recruiting, it's always been because of Jersey guys. Like it's always been because Fran Brown's here or Jeff Hafley's here, or I think Ange, when he was here, was the Jersey guy, right? The tight ends coach, Brian Angelico.
Yep.
So these guys are just like, for whatever reason, Rutgers, you have to be really ingrained with the state to kind of recruit well, it seems. It's not like people who are out of state always say it's like some mafia tie bullshit. We all know it's not that, but there's just something about like being from New Jersey and knowing kind of like what it's like in the state. It is different than any other state. So I don't know. I think we need to go out and get the best Jersey guy recruiter in the country. And it's Fran Brown, but he's not going back. So find the second best.
Elijah Robinson, and he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, no.
It's a shame because if you could have kept Fran somehow, I know I was so against him being the defensive coordinator, but like at this point I probably would have gave it to him.
Yeah, like make him the kid in the front seat with like the fake driver's wheel, and he thinks he's driving the car, but really it's the guy next to him. And
just like, Greg, you got to do this. Like, just you got to call plays, and then Fran, like, do your thing, whatever you got to do. But they did need more help other than Fran too. They need more than that. And I think if Marquise Watson was here with Fran Brown, it would have been interesting.
Yeah, he's the guy I'm most hopeful for on the staff for sure.
Yeah, and then Taekwon was pretty good. People keep talking about Pitt and how Pitt's basically just offering Rutgers kids left and right. Yeah, I mean, he's got a bunch of good receivers going to like taking visits to Pitt. Now, will they land in commitments? Who knows? And that was always his biggest issue at Rutgers. You got Hakeem Williams, Santana Fleming, all these big 4-stars that visit and just never commit. So now, if he can never get that going, I think he can be a top tier recruiter too. It's just, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Maybe you'll see Taekwon as a OC again one day at Rutgers.
I mean, I don't know what the relationship there is like at this point.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Can't go bad mouthing on Twitter. It's not good.
Yeah, no, it was very immature how he handled some things, which Shiano is kind of like Belichick, like you keep it in house, you don't really do that kind of shit. And I think he might not really like the environment that Shiano kind of
definitely interesting, to say the least.
The last thing I kind of wanted to touch on though is how many times have you had to say on the boards, we're not offering a quarterback in 23. We haven't offered anyone yet. We haven't offered anyone yet, blah, 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 blah. Then this week, suddenly 2 quarterback offers go out. We have one to the kid in California named Childs, I think. And the other went out to some Charlotte commit. I think a kid from Southern North Carolina who's a little undersized.
Sean Boyle from North Carolina, Charlotte Catholic High School. And then Aiden Chili's from somewhere in California. I don't know, but I don't know if we're going to really have to even dive into him because it's probably a long shot. It seems like there's a slight chance he might visit, but he's got a bunch of West Coast offers. He was just at Washington recently. So I don't see this one going in Rutgers' favor. Now, Sean Boyle is super excited about this offer. He loves Rutgers. It's all of a sudden it's his first Power 5 offer. So it kind of makes a lot of sense. It does seem like he committed super early for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, he committed in November of last year to Charlotte.
Yeah, very, very bizarre. But if you watch his tape, he's he's good pocket presence. He's nothing crazy. He's pretty good like throw power behind his ball, but he looks a little shorter. Like he's listed at 6'2", and
Yeah, he's not
I
6'2".
find that one hard to believe.
He's probably 6 feet even.
Which would be interesting because you kind of don't have that quarterback, I guess, on the roster yet. Because you have Evan Simon, you have who's what 6'2", 6'3". You have Noah Vedral, who's 6'3", 6'4", and then actually I guess Noah Vedral's like 6'2", 6'3". And then I forget what Gavin Wimsatt is, but I know he's not 6 foot. So yeah, this is an interesting one because he's not a burner by any means. He's got a little bit of mobility, but at the same time, it's not this dual threat that they kind of have pursuing over the past couple of years. So now it's like it's a little interesting to see like a completely different quarterback. And I know Gleason's always like, I'm going to mold my offense around the whatever quarterback I have. But I mean, it's just a bizarre offer, I guess I should say. I shouldn't say it's bizarre offer. It's bizarre to offer a quarterback in June.
Yeah. So strategically, this makes absolutely no sense because they've seen a good deal of decent quarterbacks that they probably should have and could have offered. I get that Shiano has like this pride thing, it seems, where, you know, if you're not showing interest in Rutgers, he's not just going to offer you to get you interested. Like, it's kind of like, it's an easy way to say we didn't go after him when the kid was never coming here. So a guy like Marco Lanes, I'm sure if he showed interest in Rutgers, we probably would have been more likely to offer him. But I don't get why you offer these kids now. Like, is it because they just got done evaluating from the spring and now they realize they probably want to bring in a kid? Or is it because they want to be able to kind of have their pick of the plan B kids? Like this, I don't know. This strategically, I can't find a good explanation for this.
So I guess I'll give you my little rant right now. This makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Like Sean Gleason has such a good track record with quarterbacks. He beat out Bama for a quarterback at Princeton. He got Shane Ellsworth, a 4-star at Oklahoma State. Got Gavin fucking Wimsatt to go to Rutgers somehow. And now all of a sudden we're like, nah, we don't want a quarterback. 6 months later, we're like, oh shit, we probably need one. We have 3, and Evan Simon's probably not guaranteed to stay here, or someone's not guaranteed to stay here. Actually, I'm not gonna.
I'd be willing to bet that Simon leaves if he's not the starter this year. Noah's not back next year, so you have one quarterback probably moving forward.
Yeah, and I know it's hard to recruit a transfer quarterback, like in situations like this where you have Noah Vedral, who's a veteran, and then you have Gavin Wimsatt, so you're coming in and you're automatically QB3 at the best. So it is hard for them to recruit a quarterback like that, but at the same time, it's like just you're not going to offer 2023. This is like we're talking by the time this kid sees the field, it's 2025.
Yeah.
Like this makes zero sense, especially when you have a good recruiter. We're talking about recruiters that on the staff that are questionable, and this is the one that like you have a great one at. Just what the hell? And then you go out and offer a Charlotte kid. And don't get me wrong, he's okay on tape. He's not great, he's not bad, but it's like that was your whole like we're gonna wait and blah Charlotte.
It makes no sense, and I think my main idea was that they didn't want to do anything to even remotely upset Gavin. And
I guess
they're just putting their whole program behind a kid who, I mean, he's had flashes. Like when he came in for the Illinois game, that 4th down conversion, like that excited a lot of people. But I mean, he hasn't shown consistency. He didn't look great in the spring game. Like
he looked okay in the bowl game. Like nothing.
Yeah, he looked
crazy.
okay in the bowl game.
I didn't think he was great by any means.
So it's not like we're talking about like Trevor Lawrence here. We're talking about a kid with a ton of potential, and I trust Gleason to develop him, but there's no guarantee he's going to work out. So we need somebody else. We need somebody else in the program that we can be developing. Because, I mean, I don't know if it's a Shiano thing or if it's a Rutgers thing. Like, we never seem to be able to keep the same quarterback starting for more than like 2 years since like Mike Teal. Like, it seems like everybody's been dethroned at some point, and we need that backup, whether it be like a Chase Dodd coming in for Gary Nova or like, insert quarterback here. I don't know.
Like I said, it's concerning. It doesn't really make sense why you wait this long, and then you go off for 2 random ones. One that probably you have no shot at in the Cali kid. Maybe he comes and visits. Maybe he can change his mind. But I know he did add. Who else did he add? He added Oregon State. He just went to Washington. He's got Oregon, but I don't think that one's like a legit offer or legit committable offer. Who else? Who else? He's got Hawaii. That's an interesting one. He's got Cal too. So I mean, it's not like the West Coast schools are after him. So I would be shocked if he came all the way to the East Coast to play for Rutgers. But it just doesn't make sense. It's very, very bizarre. And I've said it on the boards a couple times, and I know people are arguing about it, but it's like it's hard to argue in Rutgers' favor of that one.
Yeah, because if you legitimately want one of these guys, you put your staff in a really awkward position to actually get them because you're working against years of relationships.
Yeah, it's
combating it with like an offer late in the process for quarterbacks, because quarterbacks are almost always the first to commit, especially the high level ones. And so
yeah, it's bizarre. And then I mean, I guess you could probably flip them from Charlotte. I'm actually pretty confident about that one, but it's like not the same thing with the entire class. There's just like not a lot of hoopla. It's like more like here's a 5.5, here's a 5.5, here's a 5.5, here's another 3-star. It's like
anybody who gets more offers is decommitting.
At this point, yeah, it seems like that. And I know people are like saying don't panic, but like it's June. Like you lost what? Yazeed Haynes, he's probably gonna go to Minnesota. Who was the other one? Chris Johnson, who just blew up.
That one was never sticking around in my opinion.
I agree with that. Most Florida kids are tough to keep, but
yep,
that's what you got to deal with when you recruit down there.
Now Devon Fuse is picking up an offer from Pittsburgh. He grew up an hour away from Pittsburgh and trains with, like we previously said, the guy who trains Aaron Donald and a ton of other Pitt guys. So I don't think this is my opinion. It's not based on anything Richie said or anybody said. I don't see how we hold on to that one if the kid is actually truly interested in Pitt.
So that's an interesting one. I'm actually glad you brought it up because I forgot to tell you about this. So I texted him another day. I said, what's up, man? Congrats on that new offer. He goes, what's up, bro? I appreciate it. It's like, and just checking in. Any other official visits like right now, or like just Rutgers? And he goes, just Rutgers right now. I was like, all right, does that Pitt offer change anything for you? And he's just, I was like, I got to ask these questions. Like, LOL, like joking around. No answer. I'm supposed to call him later.
Plot thickens.
So we'll see, but I'm going to call him later this week and figure out the full blown details. But it's interesting. I mean, if Pitt is a legitimate take, or if he's a legitimate take for Pitt, I could see him flipping it almost immediately. He's like 15 minutes outside of Pitt. All of that, like that whole 2-10s program I was telling you about is like a feeder program to Pitt and Penn State. So I mean, I'd be a little shocked if it's a legit offer. I would be a little shocked if he didn't end up at Pitt.
Yeah, so that's one to monitor. Would be unfortunate to lose him because it seems like the staff really likes him. He's got a lot of physical potential. He's also put up some pretty good stats on the football field.
It's interesting recruiting time.
For sure. So we covered a lot here. Richie, is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we sign off for today?
Let me think. Today's Wednesday. Pretty big news coming tomorrow, it sounds like, with the hoops.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to figure something out there, but sounds like Rutgers is trending very well for a top 30 prospect.
Yeah, so all the Coach Pike can't recruit guys are probably just in their caves, just stewing. Yeah.
But that's all I really got. I'll be at Rutgers camp later on today. I guess when we post this, I'll be there. So
yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I really got right now.
All right, guys. Well, appreciate you tuning in once again. It's been another Night Report podcast. Signing off.